Hello and welcome to Fox Valley Tai Chi. This is a follow-along class, mostly for people who have been coming to the library class. But for anyone else that's tuning in, this is for you as well. It's always awkward staring into a camera. There's nobody around, so we'll get through this the best I can. Okay, just start off getting our legs in preparation stance. Shoulder width apart at the ankles, knees slightly bent, bowed out. Your hips sit back just a little bit. Your weight goes into your heels. And just start the relaxation process. So for those of you who have been coming to class, you're already familiar. For those who haven't been coming to class, just try your best to follow along. The concept is with every out breath, you imagine all of your energy sinking down from your upper body and going into your legs. So your upper body is emptying out, becoming more light, and your legs are filling in, becoming more heavy. The key, in conjunction with this emptying out of the upper body and filling in of the lower body, is to have complete relaxation or near complete relaxation in all of the joints of the body. So you have your entire spine, but you have your shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers. You have your hips, knees, ankles, toes. So as your legs get heavier, you don't want the tension to go into the joints, okay? As your upper body becomes lighter, that's a result of releasing the tension in the joints. Every out breath, just feel it go down, okay? I'm using my hands as a visual. You can do that if you like. And I'm feeling my legs just filling in. So it's kind of like being underwater where your legs are anchors and your upper body is just floating. You know, you can imagine that. So the upper body becomes very light while the legs become very heavy and solid. Okay? So with that being said, I want you to pay attention to your neck. Any tension in your neck, let it go. Check your neck. So right now, you can close your eyes a little bit, tuck your chin down. Feel like your head is being pulled up away from your hips very gently. Your neck is stretching, and your spine may even feel like it's stretching a little bit away from the hips. Keep your chin tucked down. Breathe out, relax all the muscles in the neck. So you're holding your bones in this new position where your chin is tucked in and you're pulling up a little bit, but you're letting go now of all the tension that was holding your bones in that place. And every out breath, you're just emptying everything out into the legs, okay? We do that the entire time, as much as we can. So really feel that in your neck. You want it to become very soft, and your head very floaty. And now from here, we're gonna imagine an arrow pointing directly from the top of our head, and we're just gonna make circles above us. So you can have your eyes closed for this if you like. Or you keep them open. The whole point is to not move the main portion of the neck. So just kind of rotate the skull on top of the neck. There's not much bending going on. There may be some. Becoming very soft in the neck, especially in that area at the top of the neck where it meets the skull. That's one of the reasons why we tuck our chin in Tai Chi, because it opens up that point. And we're always trying to relax everything, so it relaxes that point as well. So very gently, rotating the head, go the other direction. Your weight's going into your legs, remember. So if your knees are getting tense, just standing, notice that, let it go with your breath. And we're breathing slow and low into the dantian. 3 fingers below the belly button, inside of the body. That is where we breathe in Tai Chi. So you can imagine filling up a glass of water. It's from the bottom first. So you breathe in, breathe out. Goes back down. Okay? Next, shoulders. Just a very soft shoulder rotation. And You can just keep your hands at your side like this, so you can focus on your shoulders if this is new to you. Otherwise, you notice how my arms turn. So they go forward, palms face out. They go back, palms face up. Nice and easy. Not a lot of tension in the shoulder, or at least you don't want to put a lot of tension and force into the shoulder. You just want to move the bones, move this joint around. There's a lot going on in the shoulders, very complex, and you just want things to start moving around. That's it. Breathing, slow and low, down into the belly, into the dantian. Every out breath, you're relaxing from your shoulders on down, okay? So now we're going to start coordinating this movement with our breath. So when you breathe in, you'll go up. Breathe out, go down. And you feel everything melting and sinking, okay? The movement follows the breath. So not introducing a lot of tension in the shoulders. You're getting a good stretch, good rotation, but you're not trying to use the muscles a lot. Let's go the other direction. It's important that the movement follows the breath. So as I breathe in, shoulders follow. Breathe out. You'll also notice I'm sinking down a little bit when I go breathe out and coming up a little bit when I breathe in. That's okay too. You don't have to focus on that much as a beginner. The knees never go straight though. They never lock up. Just really put your mind in your shoulder joints. You're watching a video, but it's more important to listen to a lot of this, because your mind needs to be very active in the joint, in the area of your body that we're working on. So first it was the neck, and I had you relaxing everything, letting it go, let the head float. Now with the shoulders, it's just very soft. You want your mind to be present in that joint so you can feel more things moving around. And with the mind being present there, they say more energy goes there, more blood flow goes there. That's what we want. We want more blood flow in our joints. We want our joints to loosen up and relax and get more oxygen and get rid of dead tissues that might be there from injuries and whatever. So the mind is very important in Tai Chi. Some say the mind is number one in Tai Chi. Everything else follows. The body, what you see, all these fancy movements, secondary to what's happening in the mind. Okay? So let's go on. We'll swing our arms. So your legs are in preparation stance, again, which is roughly shoulder width at the ankles. Sit your hips back a little bit as your knees slightly bend and bow out. And then we're just going to swing our arms. Very simple, very easy. You want your legs to feel heavy, but spring-like. So the joints, your knee especially, even your ankle and hips, you want to feel like there are small joints, or small springs in those joints. So you're not just swinging your arms, gravity pulling you down a little bit, and you're just kind of stiffly moving through the exercise. Your goal is to feel very fluid and springy. Okay? So as that's happening up top, your shoulder is relaxing. And more blood is going into your hands. Just like when you swing your arms around in a circle when you're a kid, all that blood rushes to your hands. We call that heavy hands in Chinese martial arts. So you want that heavy hands feeling, just as you're swinging. The more your shoulder relaxes and all the tissues going from your shoulder all the way down to your fingertips start letting go, the more blood and everything else moves around in the arms. The more relaxation you're gonna get. And this comes from Qigong. So you're helping move energy just a little bit, or to even open up the energy. So breathing slow and low. Don't stop breathing in this way. Don't start breathing the normal way, where you go up into your chest and it's more tight. You want to always be breathing down here, okay? Next one is the teacup exercise. Everyone seems to like this one. I will face the other direction so you can follow along more easily. Basically, the idea is we keep a teacup on the palm. We try not to spill it. There's going to be one movement where we go back and your hand goes up above, and we're going to brace the legs, the glutes, and the abs before we lean back like that. Anytime you're leaning forward or leaning back, you want to make sure that your lower back is supported. Okay, so if you lean forward, you use your abs. If you're going back, you use your abs, legs, glutes. Okay, so teacup exercise. Start here, and I'm going to spill the tea, metaphorically, so don't worry, do your best. Start here, we go down and in, and we go back. So the shoulder rotates down, hand goes back, then we go around the front, up above. Okay, just try and get through the movement. We don't have to worry so much about breathing patterns or anything like that. Breathe slow and low into the belly, however feels natural. And that's a really good stretch for your wrist right there when you go up above. Even if you can only lean back a little bit, that's fine. You lean back a little bit, get that shoulder stretching, side of your body stretching, and you go up. Maybe that's even too much for you. You didn't lean back much, but you still can't get up high with your hand either. Well, you can try and just go up above your head like that. Whatever kind of accommodations you have to make for your mobility is fine. Your goal is to just try and move through it fluidly, feeling things moving around, supporting your body where you need to. Now let's switch to the other side. We'll start here. Go down and in, back, around the front, brace yourself, and go up above. I have no idea what I look like doing this exercise. I probably should watch that someday. Make sure I don't look like horrible. I picked this one up along the way. One more time. All right. Let's get our hips stretched a little bit. Not shoulder width. We're gonna go wide. Toes forward, knees straight. And just turn to the side. And you're gonna feel it in your hip. Probably one side more than the other. You wanna get to a point where it's a little tight, not too tight. And just relax. So we're putting our mind in the hip joints. Using the mind to relax, to send the signals, to start letting go. Muscles and tendons, they don't just let go right away. You say relax and they say no. They're afraid. They don't want to let go quickly. They don't know that things are going to be supported. They're trying not to let you get injured, but they don't speak English or whatever language we have. So when we're here, it's tight. We tell the joint, we tell the tension, we tell the tight muscles and everything. We breathe out and we say, let go. Just let go. And not just in this area here in the hip, which is what we're focusing on. You want to feel it let go all the way down to your knee and down to your toes. Okay? You're not just letting go here, because this is connected all the way down to your toes through a network of muscles and tendons. So you might release some tension here, but something else might be pulling at it. That's down here. So when you're here, you get to a point where it starts to get tight. Hold it, breathe out, and just let go. Even if your knee kind of bends a little bit as you let go, just really feel everything let go, and then straighten that knee up again and see if you can turn a little bit more to the side with your hips. And you just repeat that process over and over. So you're watching a video, you can pause this if you want. You could focus on this exercise for 10 minutes if you wanted to. The point is to really start to feel things loosening up in the hip area, okay? So we'll go to the other side. Just do the same thing. In this process, we use over and over for all of our joints. We get to a point where it's tight in some way if we're working on flexibility, and we just let it go. We breathe, we use the mind, we use the breath, and we put it somewhere in the body, and it works. Somehow it works. Call it the placebo effect, the guided placebo effect. I don't know what it is. Just feel that stretch, breathing out, letting go all the way down to your toes. And now go back and forth, nice and easy. Mind in the joints, okay? You're watching a video, but keep your mind focused in the right place. You're feeling the joints moving in the socket. You're feeling tissues all around the joints starting to loosen up a little bit, starting to slide around. That's good if you can start to feel things really sliding around, becoming more lubricated, maybe even warm if you do this enough. Those are all good things. That's what we're looking for. So if you don't feel it right away, look for it. Tell your mind that's what we want. We want things loosening up and sliding around and warming up eventually. Okay, so now let's face your left, my left, as much as we can, and then we're going to bend forward, keeping our back straight. So bend forward, rotate to the other side nice and gently, and come up in this stretch on the side here. And then we're going to go back down, keeping the back straight. So that means your core is active, it's engaged. It's helping you through the movement, supporting your lower back. And then we're going to come up. So that's 1 rep, and we'll do that 2 more times. Feeling the hamstrings stretching, and everywhere it connects down into the behind your shins. I can't think of the muscle right now. It's always funny because I'm doing this in 1 take, no edits. Your calves, you might feel stretching down there, and where it connects into your hip. So you're just feeling all that stretching and loosening, letting it go as you move through this exercise. So you could do that one a few more times if you like, because it's a really good one for getting all of those things, those areas I just mentioned, nice and loose, because there's so much tension that we have back there. Okay, moving on, we're going to go to the knees. Very simple knee rotation. Just like you're tracing a circle on the top half of your foot. The key here is to go slow, not fast like this. This is too fast. All your muscles are going to try and compensate for the movement and activate. We don't want that. We want as little activation in the muscle around the knee as possible. So we're going to go slow. Go slow and let go at the same time, as much as you can. Let go. And you're not letting go and then the bones are just crushing into the joint. You're letting go so that everything in between the joint can start to breathe a little bit. The muscles create too much tension. So then the tendons get too tense and the ligaments get worn. So we just want to let everything breathe by letting the muscles relax a little bit. They're still going to be activated to some degree. You're moving, you're using those muscles, okay? But we're just used to using the muscles too much. That's it. In Tai Chi and other internal arts, we're learning how to let go. Not completely. Let go enough to get the muscles out of the way of the connective tissues. Because the connective tissues have a different kind of energy, different kind of power. And they don't have big blood vessels going to them to bring in more oxygen and get rid of other cells, dead cells. They got these little capillaries. So we need to do this work, putting our mind in the joints and letting go and relaxing continually over and over and over again with our breathing in order to let the tendons, the connective tissues, ligaments, everything start to breathe. Because the muscles are just taking up way too much. And go the other direction. So that's why we like to go very slow, especially for this knee exercise, because our knees are always so tense. A lot of bad knees out there, and it can be prevented in many cases, many cases. So as you go throughout your day, we do checkpoints in Tai Chi, self-checkpoints. If we just saved all of this mental work for the times that we practice, we would never get very far. So all of this mental work that we learn in Tai Chi, we try to apply it daily. So we check our joints. Check the neck. A lot of tension goes to the neck. It's the first place to check. Check your neck right now. as you're doing this. You might have some tension that went back up there. So we check the neck, we check the shoulders, you know, how are my hips doing? The knees. Knees are very important because we just keep so much tension there. They stay on too much. So we need to learn to let them go. The next one is good for your balance and it's good for your knees. It's a knee lift, but we do it with a little Taiji twist. So your planted foot is out at an angle, 45-degree angle, and your knee is going to be facing that same direction. You don't want your knee going over the foot, past the foot in one way or the other. You want it to be in line with that foot, okay? You're going to be sinking into your heel, and you're trying not to touch the ground as you do the knee lifts. Trying. That's your goal, is to be able to do 10. If you can't even do 1, that's okay. Keep applying this process. And the process is very simple, but very foreign to American culture. We put our mind here in the dantian, 3 fingers below the belly button inside of the body. It's kind of like your center of gravity. So we put our mind there. And as we're doing these knee lifts, if we start to lose our balance, we start from here and we sink into the heel. So typically we're top heavy. So we walk around, we slip, we're falling from up here. Everything's up here, boom, goes down. In Tai Chi, now you're learning to fall from here. It's a little different. And you're not even falling, you're sinking into the heel. Okay? So as you lose your balance, you can have your hands out or do whatever you want with them. You lose your balance, sink down. Try to sink down. Try and keep this leg up too. Sink down. A lot going on there. Your body is learning how to use all these smaller stabilizer muscles down the leg that you're not used to using. Your foot is starting to use itself in a way that it's not used to either. But that's how you develop one-legged balance. And also, you're also learning how to train your body to respond a certain way when you lose your balance. So you're not just learning how to stand on one leg better. By doing the sinking, using your mind, sinking into the heel, you're also learning how to respond differently to a loss of balance. So when you're out in the world, you start to slip, you're gonna sink down instead of what you normally would do, which is just fall, okay? So do your best to get to 10. Trying to get your knee up to your chest level eventually. So if you can't do 1, you work hard to get to 1 without touching the ground. Focusing on sinking in the heel, putting your weight more on the inside track of the foot. So even just your heel and big toe, 2 most important parts of your foot right now as you're learning this. And then when you can get to 1, you do 2. I want you to get to 2. Because if you can get to 2 with controlled movement, you can get to 10. And when you can get to 10, you can really start focusing on getting your knee up higher. I don't know how many that was, but I think it was 10. And you're gonna notice one side has better balance than the other. So for me, I go on my right leg, balance changes. I have to adjust a little differently, but it's okay. So really work on just pulling up from the knee. Imagine something is just pulling the knee up. So try not to think of your whole leg when you're lifting your leg up. Just think of your knee, just pulling up. You might feel that it's a little bit lighter when you do it that way. So practice that. I tell everybody, practice the knee lifts, because a lot come to Tai Chi wanting better balance. And that's one of the ways that we get better balance. Okay, wrists. Just do a very simple wrist rotation. Other direction. Ankles, very simple. Switch directions. I've got this clip mic thing here, so I apologize if I'm breathing heavy into the mic at any point in time. It's very sensitive. Go the other direction. Okay, since this is just a video class, since there will be no class for a few weeks until June 10th, 2019, we're not going to be doing any standing meditation. we're going to go through the movement we have been working on in the library class past couple weeks, which is grasping the sparrow's tail. And this is all coming from the Yang style 8 short form. The numbers in Tai Chi forms tell you how many movements there are in each form. The full-sized traditional Yang style form, long form, is 108 movements. In Chen style, I believe it's 75 for their first standard form, long form. Doesn't matter, shorter or longer, all that matters is the principles that you apply to the movements, no matter if it's one movement or 108, okay? So anybody who comes to my class, you're learning movements from the Yang style 8 form, or 8 short form. And we're learning universal Tai Chi principles as we practice those movements. So again, the movements are secondary, the mind is number one, and what it does to the body. So, grasping the sparrow's tail, I'll demonstrate very briefly. This is the part where I loathe being on video. Start off with grasping the sparrow's, or parting the horse's mane, or ward off. And then we go for a grab, and then roll back. Press. Open up shoulder width. Roll back. Push. Then we transition, so we open up this side. So that's ward off, or parting the horse's mane. Ward off is the type of energy. So grab, and then roll back. Press. Roll back. Push. Open to the side. So that's the grasping the sparrow's tail, left and right. For you, it would have been right and left, whatever. Some of you have been working on this, so we're just going to get back into where we left off, more or less. So that first part, that's that separating. And remember, we're shifting, turning, and then hands move. And it doesn't happen in a 1, 2, 3, although we do break it down like that in class. It's more overlapping. So you start to shift your weight, and that, halfway, quarter to halfway through that, you start to turn. And then about quarter halfway through that, sooner or later, the hands go. But never the hands before the waist, or the waist before the hips and shifting. Okay, so we're here. And you get to this point, relax. So anytime you end the movement, as we're just practicing, not performing, let go. Check yourself again. Is your tailbone tucked? Is your weight sinking down? Is there tension in your knees? What about your shoulders? What about your neck? Because the neck truly is the first place to look in Tai Chi. So my neck feels relatively soft. Not the best warm-up we had here this morning, but not doing too bad either. You want your chin tucked down more or less. And now we're going to turn those hips just a little bit to let that hand go up. Make sure this back knee isn't coming down. You want that open. Keep the hip open. We're moving through a more flexible hip position in Tai Chi. So we're here, holding the ball level of your sternum. Shift back and down, and then turn those hips. See? Those toes come out a little bit. And now we go into that press movement. So we're shifting, turning. As you start to turn, bring those back toes in, and the elbow goes. And so once you get the coordination right, you feel that shift of weight, that movement of energy originate here and end up out here. Like I said, it's stacked, shifting, turning, hands. So this one is a bit more complex than some of the others because you're having this movement here that comes with the hip. And you still want to have a little bit of that shifting when you get here. And then from here, you're solid, push out. No tension though, remember. Any movements like this, it's so hard to think like that because we're always used to force up here. We push, we use everything. We don't want that in Tai Chi. It's a whole 180 from what we're used to doing. All from here, okay? Up here is just very soft, no muscle, all mind, mental energy only. So mental energy here, not I'm holding this, there's a guy coming and I'm gonna do that. It's here. And then it's not. And I mean, your arms are here, your limbs, everything is here, but you're kind of letting it go. Or sometimes it almost feels like it's not there because it isn't there in the normal way. The normal way is muscle tension with some sort of mental energy attached, whether you know it or not. The new way, the Tai Chi way, is you don't have that sort of mental muscle connection. So it's almost like an emptiness. But in that emptiness, there's a sort of sense of fullness that fills in. I know I'm getting a little deep and philosophical here, but this is what happens when I get on camera. So we're here, floating. Just that little bit of hip movement. See, my knee didn't really turn. Back and down. And I keep this knee out so that it can support me very well here. And I want to start letting go in the hips. So as I come back and down, let go. Sink into your heels, mostly into your right heel, unless you're mirroring me. So that when you come down, you're staying more central with your spinal column. That's the goal. It's very easy to lean. If I'm leaning, I apologize. I am not a Tai Chi master. I am a student. But you want to feel like this is a column here that's soft, and then your foot. There's like a column going into the ground. It's heavy. This whole leg is activated, but not tense. It's reactive. It's spring-like. This one is relaxed, more so. So this knee, you don't want to feel, in the back knee, you don't want to feel there's tension there. It's not working. All the actions here, 70% of your weight or more is in this leg. And 70% of that is in the heel, okay? So we came back here. This is very empty. This is full, but not tense, okay? Then you push from the foot into the dantian. Push over. And as you push over, you fill in this leg. Like dumping water from one bucket to the other. Back and forth. Push from the foot to the dantian, over. Foot to the dantian, over and down. Foot to the dantian, over and down. Back and forth. Okay, so we'll do that. Start to turn. Bring those toes in and the elbow at the same time. Press. Very soft up here. Very heavy from here on down. Very solid, but very soft here. It's a strange feeling, man, I'm telling you. Now we open up. So that was the press. We open up. Hands go like that. You can imagine you're grabbing shoulders. Push. Open up. Shift back. Roll back. This toe goes up. And the hands follow. Back and down. So you want this knee facing more out to the side. You don't want it coming in because you're going to hurt yourself that way. But notice my dantian moves back and down. And my hands, then we just guide it back and down. My dantian moves forward. My hands move forward. And then I guide it up to the level of the chest, sternum. So our hands open. Sink back, roll back. Get to this point, check yourself. I feel like my knee was coming in a little too much. It's kind of tight still. It's okay. Open it up. Really support yourself. Get this leg activated, but not so tense in your knee. Holding your hands here. Check your shoulders, check your neck. Relax it. Breathe out. Feel the energy melt down to the fingertips. This leg, I roll back. This does not tighten up all the way. It does not straighten up. You probably can't really tell, but it stays bent, at least 5%. There's always a slight bend in the knee in Tai Chi. It doesn't go straight, okay? So we came back, very soft. I'm gonna push here, forward, and you feel that momentum. Just because your hands are soft, there's naturally a momentum there. So we're gonna take that feeling of energy with our mind, push forward, feel that momentum, and then guide it up slowly, like it's something that is floating in water. Very soft, very weightless. And then notice my elbows below my wrist, my shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed. Sneeze out a little bit. These toes came back though. They're not still stuck out. You want to take care of your knee. So when the back hip comes in, back toes come in, remember. We're here, soft, very soft. We'll do that again, roll back. See, my knee came in too much. Just wanting to do that today. Gotta constantly be correcting ourselves. Just guide it, very soft. One more time. And now we'll open to this side. See how my arm comes across like that? And then the elbow goes down. Come in, bring the toes in. See? Call that silk reeling. The hands are moving in these positions. Step out, back, set it down. Make sure those back toes came in. That's ward off, or parting the horse's mane. Ward off energy. Turn the hip. So we're back here. Shift, turn, push. That did not feel very connected. It's different when you break it down for teaching and when you do it. Right now, even if I did it for performance, not all there right now. That's okay. That's how Tai Chi works. Wherever you're at, day by day, that's where you start. Usually, I warm up for about an hour. So just keep doing this movement on this side now. Check your neck. Feel softness. So I can feel a little bit of tension coming back up into my shoulders. It's okay. Just breathe, melt, let it sink. Just feel it all dripping down into the legs. Feel your upper body relaxing. My neck is pretty good. Feel your chin tucked down, head pulled up. Shift back, roll back. So you're feeling that flow, that connection from the dantian to the hands. One is the head, one is the tail. So you feel that connection. Dantian moves, hands follow. Dantian moves, hands follow. Dantian moves, hands follow. Okay, we'll open up to the side, bring these toes in, hands together. Breathe. All right, I think that might be good for today. Because of the video format, you can rewind that if you want to. This is just a first time out in this way of filming and trying to do a short little class. But we're gonna do this again. We're We're gonna do this in more detail at some point and have a full 1 hour or plus class, a few of them for you guys. But other than that, just remember, work on all of these principles while you're out in the world, okay? Main principle, be present with the mind. Breathe. Breathe down here. And check your joints. That's the biggest thing you could do in Tai Chi right now as a beginner, is getting used to just checking for tension, letting go of relaxation. And if you want to take that even further, work on separating the halves of your body every day. So emptying out the upper body with your breath, your relaxation, filling in the legs, but also letting go of the tension in all of the joints of the legs. But your legs become heavy. Okay, so you're standing in line at the store, you got your cart in front of you, you could just bend your knees a little bit, you can get into this basic preparation stance without anyone knowing, and you could start Tai Chi. Separate the halves of your body, okay? And the knee lifts, practice the knee lifts. Very, very, very important. That being said, you guys have a good day. I will see you on June 10th at Aldis Park in West Dundee. That is near the intersection of First Street and Maiden Lane. You take Maiden Lane right down to the river. And it's an awesome park not a lot of people know about. So hopefully you keep it quiet for our class. All right, I'm out.